Hey guys, it's Ty from gamesfromthefront.com. I want to thank you for watching. This is something that I've wanted to do for a long time and have kind of been dragging my feet and getting around to, but it's time that my favorite game, Where Eagles Dare, got a proper video review. So I want to take the next couple minutes and tell you the reasons that I have that for declaring Where Eagles Dare as my favorite game from my favorite game system. This is going to be a relatively short review. I'm not going to do a components unboxing. There are other ones out there that do a great job of doing that. This also isn't really going to be a rules review. I'm not going to get into the mechanics of the game because I think there are other write-ups or videos that do a pretty good job with that. But if you've frequented Board Game Geek or you've been on my blog, gamesfromthefront.com, you know I've spent a lot of time with the Grand Tactical series and Where Eagles Dare in particular. And I want to give you just the two main reasons or main categories of reasons that this game just is fantastic and really stands out for me. And I want to put it out there as the best war game for the money. So the first thing I want to comment on that the Grand Tactical series and Where Eagles Dare in particular gets right is the scale, and gets it absolutely right. From a wargaming enjoyment perspective, from a historical feel perspective, the scale at 500 meters a hex, 2 hours a turn, for my enjoyment is absolutely right on. And what I mean by that is with Where Eagles Dare, you're going to get a operational view, but you get to make tactical decisions. And so from the operational view point of view, you get to see how the operation is coming together, how different maps, parts of the map affect each other. And you get that kind of higher level view of the way that things are coming together. But then as the commander of a handful of divisions, you get to make these really interesting and exciting tactical decisions. And so, for example, I've pulled out the Eindhoven map from Where Eagles Dare as to kind of give you an example. This kind of represents the terminus part of the 30-core breakout at the beginning of the operation. The 30-core breakout within Where Eagles Dare is a fantastic scenario to play out. It's exciting. There's a great richness in choosing a strategy to approach this. I think it's one of the best and most interesting things to do within the Grand Tactical series is putting together a plan for 30-core. And so I'm not trying to pick out on any particular game, but I have brought out the Eindhoven map or Eindhoven section of the map for Air Bridge to Victory. Now, aesthetics aside, you know, this is a game from the early 90s. There's nothing especially wrong with Air Bridge to Victory in terms of representing Market Garden. But just from an enjoyment standpoint, it's lacking certain things that I want to get out of a gameplay experience. And so stretching out that breakout from Joe's Bridge up to Falkenswald into Eindhoven, you know, and translating that from, you know, maybe about 12 hexes and stretching that out instead into two large maps, you know, over several feet, just really gives it a much richer experience from gameplay, and that's really something that I'm looking out for, and one of the reasons I recommend Where Eagles Dare. That's probably my favorite example, but you can kind of take that type of thinking and put it into Best, or you can put it that type of thinking in up to Fagel. So those types of decisions just become richer and more important when you're playing at this scale. And naturally, the sense of scale carries over to the counter manifest. On the left here, I've got the 2nd Battalion from the 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment from Where Eagles Dare. And on the right, I've got a single counter, again from Air Bridge from Victory, that represents the 502nd as an entire regiment. And so, yeah, naturally, you know, when you get to this scale, there's a trade-off. Your games are going to be bigger physically. You're going to have perhaps more counters to deal with. But really, when I think about the type of gaming experience that I want, it's this scale that really delivers it for me. The last thing I'll say about scale is if you try to go the other direction from a tactical perspective. So rather than going up a couple levels and getting a true operational view or another operational view from another game like Air Bridge to Victory, what if you went the other direction and got super tactical? And in my experience, I've also found that quite unsatisfying. I don't like dealing with generic geomorph boards that have some labels on them but don't really represent anything else than some generic setting. Yeah, sure, this map in particular says Eisenbach, and it's from one of the Heroes of the Gap maps that I just happen to have handy, but there's really nothing that tells me that this is truly Eisenbach. There's no labels, there's no markings of landmarks that you would expect to see. That's, again, one of the great things about Where Eagles Dare is that you can take a city like Eindhoven and you can have the Eindhoven Bridge in it, and you can have some of the churches and some of the other landmarks that you would expect to see and perhaps that you've read about. So, kind of the generic geomorph type maps at the tactical level don't quite do it for me. I know some other people get some enjoyment out of that, but for my gaming money, I want to see something that's a little bit more in between. And then the second thing that Where Eagles Dare absolutely nails is historical flavor. And so I've kind of gone back and forth on my market garden experiences between reading books and playing games and reading books. And so what Where Eagles Dare really delivers for me is that when I look back to the time that I spent reading Hell's Highway as part of the Battleground Europe series, or Bridge Too Far, or September Hope, or Operation Market Garden Then and Now, those sources very much and very easily supplement my gaming experience. And so I can draw very tight connections between the level of detail that I'm reading in those books and in those resources and in the game that I'm playing. So I can point to specific units and I can point to specific landmarks on the map and certain characteristics of the engagement that I found in the sources. I know that I'm going to find in the game. And so I pulled out a couple of examples here on the screen. First of all, I've got Private Man here as a hero counter. He's certainly part of the history of Hell's Highway and Where Eagles Dare, and so I read about him. I see him in the game. I experience him in the game. I've got one of the commanders here, one of the leaders here. You might note that he's got a little bit of a telephone icon. And so, yeah, Where Eagles Dare actually incorporates rules around telephones for the American units, which was certainly a significant part of the way that units communicated during this part of the operation. I read about it. It's in the game. And then probably one of the neatest things about Where Eagles Dare in particular is the incorporation of club route. I talked about the 30 core breakout earlier. The club route mechanic for this game is outstanding. It essentially boils down to you've got simply a moving or mobile reinforcement hex that slowly creeps up club route, which is represented by this purple line here, this purple road here. Certainly an important part of Market Garden and represented in the game. And so it's a testament again to a little bit of the scale. There's a little bit of a tie-in there, but really it's the historical flavor of having these elements in the game, and the game's not so high level that you can't include them because it wouldn't make sense. It's not so low level and so tactical that it wouldn't make sense to do it there. It's like it's a perfect fit between the scale and the historical flavor. All right, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Again, those are my two big reasons that Where Eagles Dare is the best game for my money. The Grand Tactical series overall is outstanding, but there's something a little bit extra about this game that makes it stand out to me versus the other excellent games like Devil's Cauldron or the new Greatest Day. You know, a couple things that you can do if you're considering buying this game. First of all, look at your pile of unused games or unplayed games. Sell those and buy yourself a copy of Where Eagles Dare. That's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do is you can go online to MMP's site and pick up the rules for the series and also the exclusive rules in particular for Where Eagles Dare. Grab those, review those, look for somebody like me and get a demo on the Vassal module for Where Eagles Dare. Speaking of which, the Where Eagles Dare module, Vassal module, is outstanding. It's one of the best that I've used, and it really speeds up play, but also allows you to play a larger game like this, a physically larger game, a monster game like Where Eagles Dare. You can get that to the virtual table without any issues and have a great experience doing so. So I hope you find this review useful and you consider getting Where Eagles Dare, and hope to look for you online playing. Thanks for watching.